have a choice now. This choice is so important to mothers. I have a child that, because I had a choice, she's in private school. She's thriving. She's thriving.
My story is truly a Joseph story. This president right here, President Donald Trump, brought me from the prison pit to the White House. Only in America.
The thing I like about him, he keeps it real just like Grandma. I appreciate that because I can trust him because he tells exactly how he feels and what he thinks. Thank God for this president. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be stand up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off him. And Grandma said it.
What a powerful set on history. President Trump once again highlighting Black History Month in a way that I've never seen before. He's done it many times, but this time it was amazing to have story after story of the changes in so many lives. The White House was filled with a diverse crowd of many powerful leaders and influencers, and many Christians thanking the Lord for President Trump for the celebration and all that he's done. It's great to see, with all the darkness that has been displayed with the Epstein files and more, just the smiles and the encouragement and the joy filling a room, and request for 4 more years. We're going to get to the school choice area, the 2020 election, highlighted again, and so much more today. Let's celebrate together. We're at 500,000 plus followers on And We Know's Rumble channel. We're there because of free speech. They keep us, they do not suppress us at all, like YouTube and other places that really don't want the truth out there. So we're thankful to Rumble. We're also excited for those that continue to buy our gear, sweatshirts and hoodies, accessories, hats, tees, and tanks. If you go to andweknow.com or shop.andweknow.com, you can find all of the gear, and it'll change your life, that's for sure.
Just very briefly, thank you, Mr. President. We are so grateful for your leadership and for your heart for America. And Dr. Carson, who is a tremendous just leader, servant leader, and been a great mentor to me. And, you know, I never thought that I would see today where I'm standing between the president and Dr. Ben Carson. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And so I just want to say to everyone that's here, you know, as we celebrate this special day in not only Black history, but American history, this year that we've been here, you know, under President Trump, the Lord has been so gracious to us, and he's been faithful, and the president has been a tremendous leader in his work ethic, his heart for people. And when he says America first, he really does mean America first. Yeah. And so, and to be able to stand on the shoulders of Dr. Ben Carson and for the president to trust Dr. Carson at his word is truly humbling for me. And so to stand now as the servant leader and the secretary of HUD, I'm grateful to the Lord. I'm grateful to the president and Dr. Carson. And I promise you, we will continue to do good work and to make not just housing affordable and everybody achieve the American dream, but really to bring transformation And so that those that are in our country who depend on subsidies and this, that, and the other will get off of that and live a life of self-sustainability. So God bless y'all.
The excitement in the room, the joy filling all of the hearts there. You can sense it as he speaks and as each person starts to speak and more. Imagine watching Fox News and hearing this.
In the East Room this afternoon for an event marking Black History Month. We're going to take you there live. You can see there's a very large crowd gathered in the East Room at the White House right now. So we'll take you over there when that gets underway. And also this afternoon,
a packed house. And when you look at the faces, I just look around and I pause and pay attention to all this. You see just folks smiling, standing by, waiting for the President of the United States to walk in any moment. And you just feel a buzz in the room. And no matter what happens, no matter how this plays out, you're always going to have the enemy trying to ensure that racism is key in the press briefing room with Caroline Levitt. But here's a clip put together by someone to erase all that.
Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
He's been falsely called racist. See how the reporters work? These evil, sick, mainstream media freaks can't help themselves. They can't stand the country. They can't stand it that all of the things that are playing out are destroying their narrative. Their networks are falling apart. And yet he's saying falsely calls President Trump a racist. Here we go.
You're kidding, right?
I'm Don Lemon. The President of the United States is racist.
He is a tried and true, dyed-in-the-wool racist.
I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist.
What Trump has always been was a rich, malevolent, really racist man.
We now have a president of the United States who is a racist.
Do you believe President Trump is a racist?
Yeah. No question.
Donald Trump, what's it say?
I think he's a racist.
He is a racist.
The president is a racist.
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 I am the least racist person you've ever met.
Yeah. It's good to have clips like this and folks putting this together so we are reminded of the liars, the folks who realize that they're in big trouble, the people who have committed crimes against humanity. Over and over again, these folks will be exposed for who they really are. They can't help themselves.
This mission is Felicia Cook, a lifelong Washingtonian who tragically lost her grandson to violence in 2017. Felicia, we're so sorry.
So I paused there for a second to bring up better audio, but to show you that this woman who lost grandson, you saw a little bit in the intro of this video, but I wanted you to see the entire clip as she walks up. This is powerful.
One thing I like about him, he keeps it real just like Grandma. I appreciate that because I can trust him because he tells exactly how he feels and what he thinks. Thank God for this president. I am filled. My cup runneth over.
Amen.
Because he allowed his constituents, his people to come to my house to interview me, to talk about the murder of my grandson. It seemed like nobody cared. I'm an advocate for murder. I marched. I rallied. I pulled out other families in the District of Columbia that had murders and did not have answers. Ooh. We marched and we rallied, and nobody heard me, Democrats. Get mad at me. Until this Republican sent his constituents, his people out there to interview me in my home. Have you ever heard of a thing? Then they invited me twice before Congress to testify for the beautiful bill that's going to change crime in the district. If you kill somebody, okay, you take a life, you do life. Just that simple. If you do a harsh crime, you do harsh time. Just that simple. And then we need National Guard, and which we did years ago. He brought it on. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said it.
That's powerful. President Trump loves it. And that's the type of energy that is needed in this country. Grandmas like that. Fighting for freedom, fighting for the truth, fighting for their area that they live in, for DC. Very powerful. I saw this post from Armstrong Williams. He's a Baltimore Sun owner, broadcast owner, philanthropist, and America First. I want to read this to you. He said, "For years, I've had the privilege of attending Black History Month celebrations at the White House. Today's gathering was, without question, one of the largest and most diverse crowds I have witnessed in recent memory, a powerful cross-section of leadership from across the country. The room reflected influence at every level: business leaders, clergy, university presidents, elected officials, and prominent members of the administration. Among them was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, alongside other senior officials whose presence underscored the significance of the moment. President Donald Trump was in rare form, confident, animated, and fully engaged. The program carried both celebration and reflection. He proudly recognized his pardon czar, Alice Marie Johnson, whose life story continues to stand as a testament to redemption and second chances. He highlighted the leadership of HUD Secretary Scott Turner and the administration's focus on expanding opportunity investment in undeserved communities. The defining moment came when the president announced that Dr. Ben Carson will receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom in June. The applause was immediate and sustained, a recognition of Dr. Carson's extraordinary achievements in medicine and public service. In a deeply personal reflection, President Trump also remembered fondly the passing of his friend Jesse Jackson. He spoke of Jackson's street smarts, his instinctive understanding of people, and his genuine love for those he served. It was a moment that transcended politics, honoring legacy, complexity, and the bonds formed across decades of public life. What stood out most was the breadth of the audience and the spirit in the room. Faith leaders beside financiers, scholars beside policymakers. It was a reminder that Black history is not static. It is living, evolving, and shaped by those willing to lead and serve. Today was more than a celebration. It was a convergence of leadership, memory, and the enduring promise of opportunity. Armstrong Williams. Great stuff. I got some more to show you with the school choice and what schools have been up to recently. Stick around. We've got some great stuff for you. Are you tired of tap water loaded with toxins like lead, arsenic, and chlorine? That hidden danger building up in your pipes, your showers, your family's health? What if every drop could be pure, mineral-rich, and delicious instead? Introducing the AQ Whole House Water Filtration System from Century H2O. The revolutionary two-stage powerhouse neutralizes hard and soft scale, no salt needed, while stripping away over a dozen nasty contaminants, fluoride, pesticides, bacteria, even pharmaceuticals. Custom options for city or well water, including iron and nitrates removal. For homes up to 2,500 square feet, it delivers alkaline, calcium-enriched water. Every faucet can get it. Say goodbye to dry skin and dull hair. Century H2O's shower water filter hydrates like a spa day. Their compact under-sink wellness system, well, it's a 5-stage filtration in zero-waste design, boost pH, adds magnesium, installs in 15 minutes, no plumber required. thousands of families transforming their water. So folks, shop the AUK Revolution at centuryh2o.com/AUK in the description box below. Please use that code AWK for 10% off. And that if you're starting a New Year's health journey, toxin-free water can help with weight loss and overall health as well. We interviewed Nelson last month. See the full interview in the link below to learn more.
Well, I ditto. To God be the glory.
So to God be the glory. And she's about to speak, and here we go.
I'm from Texas. I live in a zip code that I didn't have an opportunity to have a choice to go to school. And so when I raised my children, I wanted a better opportunity for them. And I'm so grateful to ACE scholarships and all the doors that the president is opening for education. My son was in a school that he didn't have any voice, and he found drugs in school, and he died. And so I'm here today to just show my appreciation for all the moms around the world. We have a choice now. This choice is so important to mothers. I have a child that, because I had a choice, she's in private school. She's thriving. She's thriving. She's going to be an anesthesiology nurse, and she's doing great. And ACE scholarships was a big part of that. Changing education changes everything.
Thank you, Susan.
Changing education changes everything. In my zip code, it feels like we were locked in a cage. And being locked in a cage and can't get out. And because of all of the things that you're doing for education, now we can get out and soar. Our children can have a chance to be prosperous, just like other children. And I thank you for that. This is a great opportunity. So on behalf of all the mothers all around the world, I stand here and I give you your flowers while you can still get them. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Give me
School choice. Then he gets a big hug. It's amazing, the lives that are changing right before our very eyes. I wanted to pause here for the school choice before we get into some more that was delivered from President Trump. I wanted to get into the schools for a moment. There's a lot been happening there in the schools lately. There is a feral mob of high school thugs attacked a woman, stole her Trump sign. Where are the adults? Our schools are turning out criminals, not students. And this is why she's looking for school choice, so that we can get the kids out of schools like this. Beth Bourne said, "My signs were grabbed out of my hands. A brave young woman tried to assist me as I was mobbed by radicalized teens. I stood on a raised platform, held the sign, Trump Vance 2024, make women female again. I was attacked, bottles and cans thrown at me. My signs were stolen." They're trying to say that I activated these kids to become violent, and that I deliberately hit a student with my elbow, which of course isn't true. Blue Wall Media showed us this. Meanwhile, Winters United School District estimates only 20% of their enrolled students are proficient in math and only 35% in reading. Winters High School ranks 841 out of 1,687 in the state for overall academics. Pathetic on all counts. And then they put the pictures available to the public with their emails for all to see. Here's Marco Rubio.
It's neither the government nor the school's job to raise children. They're there to teach. Parents raise children. Strong families raise children. And that's what we need to be supporting. So from our role, I don't want the federal government involved in our schools. I don't want the federal government threatening our schools. I don't want the federal government holding leverage over their head. If the federal government wants to help pay for school lunches, yeah, that's fine. But don't put strings attached like they're doing now, which is if you don't let boys play against girls in sports, we're going to take away your school lunch money. I'm against that. We should stop that. We should always be against that. And that's what we should be doing at the federal level, is ensuring that we are not, bullying states into adopting policies that at the end of the day turn these places from schools into indoctrination centers. We don't want that. We don't need that. That's actually the way Marxism works.
Marxism. A parent went online, publish this for all to see. He went in to get his child out because of what he's noticing. He walks into the school.
I'm here to check out Adam Milan.
And he said he's here to take out his child. And he starts pointing and he says, look, these guys are protesting. They're out in the street, these kids. I want you to hear what the young lady behind the counter says.
We had a ICE protest on campus that was friendly and was supposed to be safe in the advocate.
So we've had an ICE protest that's on campus and it's friendly, she says, because he said these kids are out in the streets. She's trying to say that it's friendly. He cuts her off.
This is for school.
This is for school.
For kids shouldn't be involved. This is for learning. I have to leave work because while I'm working, I have to worry about what you're manipulating my kids into listening to.
You're manipulating my kids. You're manipulating my kids, and he's had enough. And this young lady basically didn't like it. She turns away. She walks away. And she makes him write the name of the child down that has to come out of the school. And then she does something very interesting. Are you ready? Watch this. As he signs the name, can I see your ID? And he gives his ID card. Isn't that something? These liberal Democrat freaks, they don't want ID to vote. But boy, they want your ID to prove who you are, even though you've kind of in there, you've taken your child out many times, which is good to have the ID, right, to get your child out. But it's amazing how they only want the ID when it means something to them, not what it means they're stealing elections. So not all schools are the same. They've got this guy, I think he's the principal, telling these kids this.
Go back to class and we're good. If you stay out here, we will get your names. You will be suspended. Okay? That is your option at this point. Because you are operating outside the bounds of what was granted. That event was canceled. You left school without permission. Your rights do not supersede the school. So if you understand that, that is your option. If you wish to return, Dr. Damiani will let you in that door over there. If not, I will be getting your names. You will be suspended. Okay? Those are your options.
What are we doing?
All right? Your rights do not exceed that of the school.
Your rights do not exceed that of the schools. Go ahead and do it. You'll be suspended. You'll be punished. Wonder what the reaction is for that and how many walked in to the school. Other things in schools. This is a school wall mural of Moloch, a satanic demon from Jenks Middle School in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This mural was painted by children with guidance from a teacher and approval from an administrator. Moloch is the demon of child sacrifice. Jenks Middle School was and still is under the control of Angelica Infante Green, who was tasked with improving academic outcomes in Rhode Island. When parents complained, the mural was painted over, but it's still there under a coat of white paint, an image of child sacrifice. Ramona Bessinger then says, homeschool your children. Here's the LA
sooner than we were, and we're
USD
in a position where they
School Board. The Los Angeles Unified School District holds a meeting to cut 657 cafeteria workers, special ed aides, and custodians due to a budget deficit. The superintendent of LAUSD makes $440,000 per year. The deputy superintendents make $300,000 to $400,000 per year. The chief financial officer makes $300,000 per year. The chief academic officer, chief human resources officer, chief operating officer all make $280,000 to $380,000 a year. Associate superintendents and executive directors all make $250,000 to $350,000 per year. Top administrators in specialized areas such as facilities and equity programs all make $200,000 to $300,000 per year. And they want to cut the 657 cafeteria workers and keep their pay. You see how it works? Oh, we've got more. Here's the Winchester Planning Committee in Virginia.
Would prefer to remove the Pledge of Allegiance
Removing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would prefer to remove the Pledge of Allegiance under public hearings. It's section C under Article 5.
I would agree with that as well, actually. And I'm glad we don't do any pageantry or rituals before we just dive into business.
Pageantry and rituals is what this lady thinks the Pledge of the Allegiance is. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Pageantry, she calls it.
Seems, unnecessary.
Okay.
It seems unnecessary.
The chair calls for a vote to remove the Pledge of Allegiance from the agenda. We'll take a roll call vote.
Here they go with their vote.
Vice Chair Dick?
Yes.
Commissioner Mayfield?
Yes.
Wow.
Commissioner Pfeiffer?
No.
Oh, there's a no.
Commissioner Jimenez-Flores?
Yes.
Commissioner Bloom?
Yes.
Chairman Corral?
No.
2 no's. There you go. They don't want the pledge. Virginia Commission removes the Pledge of Allegiance from regular agenda. Oh, but we've got good news. President Trump is working hard with his staff. And I think we're going to see some big changes playing out for the future. Before we get there, let's look at New Jersey.
What is the state of New Jersey teaching second graders? Well, you would assume that they're really focused on building basic math skills and reading skills, which presumably they are, but listen to what they throw in there. So this is for students that are supposed to have achieved these things by the end of second grade, according to their own curriculum. Differentiate between gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. So they think that's really important for second graders, 7-year-olds, to know. But then it gets even worse. Listen to this. They need to know how to define vaginal, oral, and anal sex, how to perceive consent to sexual activity, how to identify short and long-term contraception, and safer sex methods that are effective, and how to identify and access and use them, and to prevent unintended pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections. All of this is in a curriculum that a second grader needs to know about. Can you think, if that was my kid coming home, are you kidding me? This is what the legislature and the voters of New Jersey tolerate.
Satan's little season, the season that we're in now, where Satan is unleashing everything he can with his minions to corrupt our children. Now, let's get back to President Trump and what he's done for another young lady. It's absolutely brilliant.
I said, 28 years left. And I said it, and she admitted she made a little mistake, but it was not the kind of a mistake that you serve 50 years in jail for. Like maybe a couple of months, maybe less than that. And I said, this is the most unfair. And then when I met her, I fell in love. I found my wife was very upset with it. Our great first lady did not like that, Scott. She didn't like it, but Alice is great. And say a couple of words. It was so ridiculous. 22 years, she had 28 left. And I said, let's get her the hell out. And we got her out. We did a commute. And then when I got to know her, she was so high quality. I said, full pardon. So she's cleaner than anybody in this room, even than my friend right here. She's cleaner. Because of that, she's cleaner than anybody in this room.
Thank you, Mr. President. The feeling was mutual. I fell in love with this man, with his heart for this country, with his heart to really bring America back to the form of greatness that it deserved. And that's exactly what he has done. My story is truly a Joseph story. This president right here, President Donald Trump, brought me from the prison pit to the White House. Only in America could there be a story like my story. And President Trump is the only president who would have had the courage to bring someone like me someone who received a second chance, but who knows more than someone who has sit among the captives, than someone who has been in captivity themselves. I did not get comfortable in my own freedom, but I went back. As Harriet Tubman said she did, she went back to draw many others into freedom. And President Trump has listened to those recommendations. There's so much more to come, because when you see me, you see a miracle, you see hope, you see second chances, and you see someone who is willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work, do the hard work to help individuals gain their freedom. President Trump did something historic in his first term. He signed the First Step Act into law. And for that,
Story of Joseph right there in front of you. From the pits of despair, locked up 22 years, and brought out to hang out the White House. In the midst of all this, President Trump still has a sense of humor. He says he fell in love with her, and Melania didn't like it, and I thought that was great. You know, this is going to have a huge impact on the elections, folks. There's people who are going to see this. Even if they don't want to see it, it's going to end up running across it, even if they post negative things saying, look, all these people supporting President Trump, they're terrible. There's going to be millions that tune in or see it on their social media, and they're going to go, what? What's going on? Crooked elections cannot be allowed in the USA. President Trump posted that February 17th at 10:57. 10:57 on the cue board, there's a timestamp there, marathon end. We're looking at an ending coming soon. He posted, the storm has arrived. Dan Bongino had John Solomon on his show today, and John Solomon made an interesting prediction that Trump will soon unveil evidence that foreign powers meddled in the 2020 election, which will result in John Thune ultimately caving on the filibuster, and the Save America Act will get passed. I think Donald Trump is going to change the narrative in America. He said, I think he is going to change some senators' minds. He's going to start revealing some of the intelligence that was kept from the American people, and we're going to see that our foreign adversaries have monkeyed around with our election system more than we know. And I think when senators realize their state could have been targeted, there is going to be a different debate in America. I think there's some big, significant, and very troubling revelations about the vulnerabilities of our elections that the president is about to unveil on the American public. We're going to show you the numbers from CNN on Democrats and what is happening to them and how they're falling apart. But first, let's grab a cup of coffee with Mike.
Well, did the founders of America believe that God's on America's side, or did they believe that America needs to be on God's side? Well, if we read some of their quotes, we're going to get some insight into that. Samuel Adams, right after the signing of the Declaration of Independence, stood up and said, "We have explored the temple of royalty." He was speaking about the British monarchy. "And found that the idol we bowed down to has eyes which see not, ears that hear not our prayers, and a heart like a millstone. We have this day restored the sovereign," capital, speaking of God, "to whom alone men ought to be obedient. He reigns in heaven, and from the rising to the setting sun, may his kingdom come." July 4th, 1821, at a July 4th celebration, John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, said, "The highest glory of the American Revolution was this: it connected in one indissoluble bond the principles of civil government with the principles of Christianity." On another July 4th, later on, he said, "Why is it that next to the birthday of the Savior of the world, your most joyous and venerated festival returns on this day, July 4th? Is it not that in the chain of human events, the birthday of this nation is indissolubly linked with the birthday of the Savior, that it forms a leading event in the progress of the gospel dispensation?" He wasn't comparing Independence Day with the birth of Christ. What he was saying was, these are two pivotal events in the course of the kingdom of God, the gospel being spread around the world. And as Samuel Adams said, from the rising to the setting sun, may his kingdom come. And welcome to the Great Awakening.
Amen, Mike. You know, Hunter's Blend coffee is in the description box below. You can shop coffee and shop American. It's been pretty amazing to be on board with them and watch and actually drink their coffee also. It's delicious, man. They have locally roasted specialty coffee for freedom-loving Americans. They buy only the top 6% of the coffee beans. They roast with precision in small batches. They ship their locally roasted coffee fresh to your door. They support organizations and causes that are near and dear to the hearts of many freedom-loving Americans, such as pro-life, youth shooting sports, veterans, hunting and conservation, patriot, and anti-sex trafficking. So again, you can get those great coffee products delivered to you by clicking in the description box below.
Electoral races nationwide should stand as a wake-up call for Democrats, because take a look here. The race raiders, governors post-2026 election, at least tilting to the Republicans. Look at this. A majority, 26. That is at this point the number of governors that are expected, at least tilting towards the Republican Party at this point. Democrats come in at just 20. The rest of the races are toss-up. Of course, you sum up to 50. And I will note that the Republicans right now hold a 26 to 24 gubernatorial seat advantage. So at this point, it doesn't look like Republicans on the net and the aggregate are actually going to lose any governorships. In fact, when you add in those toss-ups, they may gain. So this should stand as a major wake-up call to Democrats, because if there's a wave building, it has not, at least at this point, hit the state level when it comes to governorship.
Oh, boy. The Democrats are in trouble. Mr. Poole says they cannot face him, so they run, the Democrats. Trump is scheduled to give his State of the Union address, a moment for the president to speak directly to the nation, a moment of unity and strength. And what are the Democrats doing? They're boycotting it. They're planning counter rallies. They're hiding. They are refusing to even be in the same room as the man who is exposing them all. Last year, they tried to shout him down. Al Green was ejected from the chamber like a child throwing a tantrum. It didn't work. It only made them look weak. Now they have given up even pretending to be on opposition. They are admitting defeat. They are admitting they cannot win the argument. They are admitting they are afraid. This is not a protest. This is a surrender. They are running from the truth. They are running from the light. They are running from the will of the American people. Let them run. Let them hide. Let the world see them for the cowards they are. While they hold their sad little rallies in the dark, the State of the Union will be stronger than ever, because the real opposition was never them. It was the swamp, and the swamp is being drained. Nothing can stop what is coming.
Down over DHS funding. Has the president personally spoken to the Democratic leaders in Congress? Can we expect to see them at the White House to try to make a deal on this?
Not to my knowledge. He hasn't had any direct conversation or correspondence with Democrat lawmakers recently. It doesn't mean he's not willing to. I'm just not aware of any conversations that have taken place. I do know the White House and the president's representatives have been in direct conversations with both Democrats and Republicans, but of course, Democrats are the reason that the Department of Homeland Security is currently shut down. They have chosen to act against the American people for political reasons. And now we have FEMA workers, the men and women of the United States Coast Guard, men and women of TSA who keep our airports moving, who will be working without paychecks for no good reason other than the Democrats wanting to pick a fight with Donald Trump. And the president thinks that is irresponsible and despicable. He wants the government to be open. We've been engaged in good faith negotiations with the Democrats. Last night, they sent over a counter proposal that frankly was very unserious, and we hope they get serious very soon because Americans are going to be impacted by this. Sure.
Democrats.
President Trump is...
Democrats. They're in trouble. Black History Month gathering will wake up millions. This grandma will wake up millions. This broadcast owner, Armstrong Williams, will wake up millions. And then you have social media, where somebody named Muva at Kai Binet on X put this skit together. Just another day on the Democratic plantation. Stand by. Here we go.
What you got there, gal? Oh, I uses them to clean the windows, sir. You thought I was reading these fancy papers? Oh, no, sir. I know you's got to tell me how to think, sir. I knows better not to read this. And I remember you told me if I don't do what you told me to do, that means I ain't black. And I's just as black as the day is long, sir. Yes, indeed. You been using them words we taught you. Oh, yes, sir. I uses them words loud, proud, and strong. Anytime one of them highfalutin Negroes come around here telling me to read some kind of fancy paper for myself, I calls them coon and bootlickers. I sure do, sir. And the rest of them around this plantation, they've been saying another word. They said sellout. I know you ain't teach it to me, sir, but it sounded awful fancy, so I decided to use it for myself. I got some new words. Oh, yes, sir. I was learning real good. What is this, sir? It's dictator, fascist, and Nazi. Oh, okay. Dictator. Fascist. Nazi. Okay, sir. Right. Those sound awful fancy, sir. What they mean? Don't matter what they mean. You right, sir. You right, sir. Pardon. I gets ahead of myself. I know that I shouldn't ask you nothing. I know that you tell me what's best, sir. Don't matter what they mean. Just matters that you told me to say them, and I got to learn them real good. Yes, sir. You got them leftovers? Oh, yes, sir. We got them leftovers. We sure mighty obliged for them, sir. Yeah, Overseer Crockett, Overseer Obama, and Overseer Waters told us you sent them, sir. Because we wouldn't be able to get by without your handouts and your program, so we can't do it on our own. And they make sure they remind us of that, sir. Yes, indeed, they do. We got some more leftovers coming, on the first? Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, thank you, sir, because they even told us, they talking about we got to get some identification, and we knows we can't do that on our own. We's not smart enough. We needs you, That's sir. right. That's right, sir. I appreciate you for dropping by here, letting us know that you're still thinking about us, sir. All right. It's all for good. All right, sir. Thank you for dropping by. Okay. Look away, Dixieland.
Way to go, Mova. It's a great skit showing exactly what's playing out in front of us.
Very good. Yeah, 4 more years. Anyway, so
4 more years. They're crying out. President Trump, has been claiming victory in 2020 presidential election, and we've got another big one coming up, right?
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list. Okay?
Never forget this. Remember, they're going to go after these elections, and we've been simply asking for an ID. I saw this. Pretty good.
Having an ID to vote would be in step with the law. So are you going to vote for the law?
Yep. Are you going to vote for the law there, Democrat Moskowitz?
If they put forward a bill that says you can use your driver's license or your state-issued identification to vote, I support that. We have that in Florida, but the SAVE Act goes way beyond that. It would affect women whose birth certificate doesn't match their driver's license. It will depress turnout by requiring people to go and re-register to go get this new voter ID.
Congressman. That's not true.
It is. It is absolutely true. This is about depressing turnout. It's not about making sure non-citizens vote. Let them use their driver's license.
Either,
Maria.
Congressman. The SAVE Act is a requirement for ID to vote. Period.
Listen to this.
Good luck voting as a married woman if the SAVE Act passes. I swear, I think your guys' 14 boosters actually made you retarded. As a married woman, you will still be able to vote even if your name changed. The SAVE Act means that you will have to bring a form of documentation in addition to your driver's license, whether it's a passport or a birth certificate. I understand not everyone has a passport. Everyone has a birth certificate. You change your name when you get married, it won't match the name on your birth certificate, but do you know what you get when you do get married? A marriage license. Come on, people. This is the last thing I want to be talking about right now, but I cannot stand the blatant lies on the internet on videos with millions of likes.
Had enough. Joe Lang reminded us we have it all. Trump is going to expose our entire fraudulent election system. Trump has the evidence of foreign involvement in our election system that makes the system unconstitutional. This is a national security issue, and the president has plenary power over national security. Do you remember this? At the end of Trump's first term, he issued an executive order requiring the intelligence community to produce an assessment within 45 days after a federal election. That was an assessment specifically looking into foreign involvement in the 2020 election. Do you remember what happens? After the election and before Biden was inaugurated, the intelligence community refused to meet that 45-day deadline and then claimed there was no foreign interference. But do you remember who was the head of DNI at the time? And what he said? Communist China interfered in the 2020 presidential election. Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe has confirmed, according to CBS News correspondent Catherine Herridge. However, other U.S. intelligence agencies have defied President Donald Trump's 2018 executive order by missing the December 18th deadline that Ratcliffe honored. Quote, this afternoon, the DNI was notified by career intelligence officials that the intelligence community will not meet the December 18th deadline set by executive order in Congress. Said Schoch, S-C-H-O-C-H. Well, DNI Ratcliffe leads the 17 intelligence agencies, and he has access to the most highly classified information that is held by the U.S. government. And he told CBS News that there was foreign interference by China, Iran, and Russia in November of this year, and he's anticipating a public report on these findings in January, Herridge reported. That evidence still exists. The office of the DNI confirmed that their upcoming report includes information about relevant foreign threats from the November 3rd election. Member Attorney Sidney Powell filed a letter with the Supreme Court on December 13th to notify them of the 2 batches of recently obtained evidence about Dominion voting systems voting equipment. And you saw that it looked like there were multiple times where military intelligence analysts swore an affidavit stating that their certificates of Dominion voting were used multiple times from Canada, Serbia, and the United States. Serbia is key. Just a coincidence that Trump placed Ratcliffe as head of the CIA in his second term? Don't think so. And so, an affidavit from a high-ranking military official given under oath states Smartmatic was designed in such a way that the system could topple governments without being detected. Sidney Powell said in an affidavit by a first-hand witness, a high-ranking military official under oath who was present when Smartmatic systems were designed, stated, Smartmatic was designed in such a way that the system could change each voter's vote without being detected. We have it all. Big wake up for the world.
The question is, as this popularity rises around the world, and especially in regions where it's invested so much effort in promoting peace and ending wars, do you think we might be watching the emergence of a global MAGA movement? Is this something that the president has discussed at all?
Well, I don't know, Jake, but I sure hope so.
The whole earth will have a MAGA movement. We sure hope so. I mean, the whole earth is tuned in to CNN everywhere you go on this earth, just about everywhere you go. CNN's popped up on the televisions. Imagine them watching Anna Navarro talking about ballots and how she gets handled by old O'Leary.
Just in the last few weeks, we have seen cases involving. We have seen cases involving federal agents with a Venezuelan national in Minneapolis, who they claimed had charged them with a snow shovel and attacked them. Christy, no.
Have to do with the
Let me get my
ballot?
point across, and then you can. And the point is the point is that they charged them criminally, and when they went to court, evidence proved that what they had said was a lie. That this government lies. That's the point.
All right, Kevin, a quick last word.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm not sure.
My last word is, you're all nuts.
You're all nuts. They're talking about ballots, and she changes it and goes after some story about illegal from Venezuela, and who knows what in the world she's talking about. He goes, what does it have to do about? You guys are nuts. How do you think they reacted?
Like, that's just...
Oh my God.
Thank you, Devin.
Guys,
am I in on that? Okay.
Look, we got to keep it together here, okay?
We are keeping it together. You guys are losing your mind. She can't handle it, man. Why is she even moderating this thing? Oh, yeah, it's CNN. They have to keep, folks believing that, they're going to talk about liberal gender, but they're, bringing O'Leary on with Mr. Wonderful to help wake folks up. It's pretty good.
I mean, there's a way to talk about these things. If you don't have anything to say, just say that, and I won't come to you next time.
Important.
You don't
All
have
right,
basic
next
information,
for us,
Kevin.
everyone, thank you for being here. Next, excuse me, stop, Kevin, stop.
He's still talking about the shovel with the ballots, and she's trying to get him to stop. Anna's way out of her league. She's talking to a guy who's run multiple businesses, multi-millionaire, if not billionaire. The guy wouldn't hire her to mop the floor at all of his places that he works. Good Lord. I don't know. I can't get enough of Kevin O'Leary mocking AOC on CNN. Check this out.
Listen, she's not a foreign policy expert.
Clearly.
And so, no, she's not.
Clearly.
She's not.
You don't say. Come on, give her a break.
You guys, you don't even know who's running in Texas, okay?
No, you don't say. Give me a break. And then they get triggered. Isn't it fun? Kevin Leary's just having fun. He's like, man, I'm going to keep triggering these guys.
Stop being so condescending.
For 5 seconds, let somebody finish their thoughts before you have to be rude.
I would like to see how you would be able to answer that. Look, I think that it takes a lot of courage, and I think for her to be expanding her message, for her to be expanding her areas of policy interest are a good thing. She is one of 435 members of Congress. There's a lot of them there that don't come with a breadth of foreign policy
You're right. She
knowledge.
was fabulous.
It's not about her being fabulous. It wasn't.
Say something here.
It wasn't about
Let's
her
say
being
you're
fabulous.
hired to give a speech. Let's say you're.
She was fabulous. Oh, way to go, Larry. All right, back to some serious stuff.
The president and his team have committed a tremendous amount of time and energy in bringing this war that is very far away from the United States of America, but nevertheless, this is a president of peace. And so he's committed a tremendous amount of time and energy to bringing this war to an end. Just yesterday, there was another round of trilateral talks between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. There was meaningful progress made in both parties. Both sides agreed to update their respective leaders and to continue to work towards a peace deal together. So there will be another round of talks in the future. But I think the president views this entire situation as very unfair, not just for Russians and Ukrainians who have lost their lives, but also for the American people and the American taxpayer who were footing the bill for this war effort before President Trump put a stop to it. And I would just remind everyone around the world that the United States is still selling weapons to NATO that are then being sent to Ukraine in their defense of their freedom in their borders.
Yeah. Still working on Ukraine. While this is playing out, 2 executives have been sentenced to 20 years in prison for a $233 million Obamacare fraud scheme. Corey Lloyd, 46, and Stephen Strong, 42, profited handsomely for years from the scheme. Justice Department officials said using the proceeds to purchase luxury vehicles, an 80-foot yacht, an oceanfront home in the Florida Keys. The scheme involved lying and falsifying government forms to obtain coverage for individuals and lying to or bribing would-be enrollees to sign up for plans even when they knew doing so would cost them their existing insurance coverage. Congratulations, Deluxe Pepe Deluxe. Ultra Magadine Erickson pointed this out for being retruthed by President Trump and being used as a com. That's right. Pepe Deluxe posted this. People that doubted will soon see. Great clip, friend. And it shows the meme, I will be the one to shut it down, with President Trump with those laser eyes. It was posted at 10:58 p.m. by President Trump. 10:58 says, West Coast FBI DOJ still open. Anyone called yet? I'll do it. What info? Just the Instagram account. Operators on standby. Continuing with 155, posted by Pepe Deluxe. You have the bunker, apple, yellow sky. Yes, Godspeed to everyone. The Key Bridge has not been rebuilt. There's raw sewage flooding the Potomac River. Democrat Wes Moore signs emergency legislation. For what? Oh, to ban local authorities from aiding ICE in removing illegals from Maryland. Democrats are destroying. They're trying to destroy America. And this was posted by ICE. For those listening and not able to see your screen, all those that lives have been taken by illegal aliens are being flashed on the screen right now. Many of them, children, sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers, are gone. This is our why. This is our why. ICE. Very powerful message. Also powerful, the United States trade deficit has been reduced by 78% because of the tariffs being charged to other companies and countries. Pretty amazing, huh? And so it will go into positive territory during this year for the first time in many decades. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Also, remember, we've got our interview with Dr. Kirk Elliott that was released last Saturday, talking about silver, folks, and it's a great time to get involved. If you go to andweknow.com/gold, he will help you out. Somebody on his team will reach out to you, and they'll even pray with you. And boy, do we need prayer, especially when we see things like this. This transgender man, Kansas State Rep Abby Boatman, has a meltdown on the House floor after lawmakers passed a bill banning men from women's bathrooms.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On its face, this bill obviously discriminates against transgender people in ways that make our lives exponentially more difficult and dangerous. But more insidiously, it is yet another way of policing women and our bodies in the absence of men and masculinity being subjected to the same scrutiny. There's no outrage about trans boys playing in sports. There's no hand-wringing about husbands and sons sharing their bathrooms with trans men. This is about blaming women for the bad behavior of men. And we may be done with this travesty in the State House, but now we've just unleashed it upon our families and our friends and our colleagues. And this is an embarrassment and a disgrace, and it is going to no doubt ruin lives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That guy needs to be taken to a mental hospital. He definitely needs help. Definitely needs help. You know, I haven't had much to go into the Epstein stuff today, but I will show you something, since we're talking about Ukraine today and more before we close, on what was uncovered with the U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. Do you remember we talked about that? Look at this conspiracy theory coming true. Liz Churchill posted.
Almost every so-called conspiracy of the past 10 years seems to be proven true the more we dig into the Epstein files. Tonight, we're taking a look at the issue of Ukrainian biolabs, labs that we were told repeatedly over the past few years did not exist. They were nothing more than a Russia-funded conspiracy theory. For years, anyone who questioned government-connected biological research, biolabs, throughout Ukraine, studying viruses or diseases, or research into underground genetics projects, was brushed off as a crazy person. See, I was one of those people. Here's part of some of those reports from 4 years ago. years ago.
New and exclusive information about the Ukraine biolab story that some media and politicians are still pretending don't exist. And now we have brand new information you're not going to see anywhere else because it's being scrubbed from the internet. Not only do we have new insight into what was inside of those labs, but also new information about the people working there being given diplomatic immunity. And not only that, but that people living around some of those labs over the past decade have become sick with cholera and even swine flu. Plus, do these labs have anything to do with the overthrow of the Ukrainian government in 2014? When he was a Burisma executive and his father was vice president, Hunter Biden's company, Rosemont Seneca, invested $500,000 into a San Francisco-based pathogen research company called Metabiota. I was actually one of the first reporters in the country to tell this story back in 2021. Hunter Biden introduced Metabiota to Burisma officials to negotiate the establishment of biolabs in Ukraine. During this time, Metabiota also received $24 million in funding from the Department of Defense, which included money for Ukrainian research projects. Although the U.S. government and its cheerleaders in the media screamed that the existence of U.S. biolabs in Ukraine were a Russian fabrication and conspiracy theories, the Pentagon and other U.S. government officials later admitted to the fact that 46 peaceful Ukrainian laboratories exist in the country.
Tonight, the Epstein emails are once again proving that things that we have previously been told were conspiracies were not. They were happening. And once again, they were worse than we had previously thought. So much worse. Look at this. Emails show Epstein was heavily involved in Ukrainian biolabs, discussing do-it-yourself genetic experiments, including embryo implantation, sperm modification, and so-called biohacking with scientists. Now, consider what we're seeing here. These experiments include sperm modification? Like, modified to do what? We don't know. What was Epstein and his donors trying to create? See, there's another email that gives us maybe some insight into that. These detail plans for a proposed designer baby project, outlining funding needs and development strategies. The goal here, according to the email, to move from small-scale garage biology to the first live birth of a genetically designed human, or even a human clone, within just 5 years. Again, why is this happening? And specifically, why was it happening in Ukraine? Well, actually, that part's easy, because this kind of research is inhumane, it is unethical, and most importantly, it's illegal in the United States and most Western countries, which is why all of this was happening in special places like Ukraine, where this could happen, but it was also happening under a huge cloud of secrecy, which is why another email explains the need for secrecy. Read this one. Emails discuss whether financial backers would only participate if they were guaranteed that they could remain totally anonymous, fearing public exposure and massive reputational damage. So, now the question. Was Epstein simply running a criminal pedophile network? Clearly not. He was also pursuing radical human genetic experiments with global implications. And if these projects were real, and they certainly were, where would they happen? Remember this statement under oath 4 years ago from then Undersecretary of State Victoria Nuland.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian troops, Russian forces may be seeking this classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Again, at that time, questions about secret biolab activity were quickly dismissed as Russian disinformation. But now, in the light of Epstein's documented interest in genetic experimentation and his clear use of biolabs in Ukraine to carry it out, this is not a conspiracy anymore.
Not a conspiracy anymore. Good work there. In the biolabs in Ukraine, we talked about these special operations done by Russia, by Putin, and we had somebody overlay a map of all of the places that were getting blown up, and they matched, if you guys remember, the biolabs. Almost as if the biolabs were destroyed by Putin. And saving the entire earth. Makes you wonder, huh? With all that's going on, we saw this. For those who don't understand, Trump is changing the color. President Trump's changing the color scheme of Air Force One. They're ditching the Kennedy-era light blue for Trump's red, white, and dark blue paint scheme across the entire presidential fleet. Why? Well, Ripcord showing the picture because it matches the United Nations colors. That's right, the C-32A Air Force Two jet emerges wearing Trump's new Air Force One paint job. Updated. Good stuff. And we started with the gathering for Black History Month. We're going to show you this again as a reminder. President Trump on Truth Social used two photos that were placed on the cue board. Do you think that's a coincidence? On the cue board, the top picture was posted. President Trump then posted that one on 2026. But it was given to us in 2019, and we were told, what happens when the controlled are told to create a new false racist narrative, disinformation campaign? Do the sheep follow? Think for yourself. See truth. Well, now we can see that President Trump's using photos from the cue board on Truth Social. And then President Trump also posted a picture of him with Muhammad Ali and Don King and Jesse Jackson. That same picture is one that was used on the cue board in 2020 with this, wasn't a racist until he ran for president as a Republican and won. And we were told by Q, open your eyes to see the truth. Who are the real racists?
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you again, thanking you for all that you continue to do in and through our lives. Thank you for the leadership that has stood up for all people, regardless of who they are, what they look like, what agendas they have. They still fight for all people in America. And that's making a ripple effect, of course, as you see it across this entire earth. We were told that if America goes down, the whole world would go down. We know and see many people's lives are affected by the evil that they've seen this past week, this past 2 weeks, this past 10 years even, to the point where they realize that there's evil. And when there's evil, they know there must be good. And only you are good. And your Son, Jesus Christ, was told he was good. And you know, over and over, the prayers that have been sent your way by the millions were reached. You've taken those. You've done battle against the enemy. They're falling apart, and we ask that you would continue to do this. May we see biblical moments play out just like we see in Scripture. May the protection of our president continue, the protection of the many leaders that stood up again at the Black History Month event. The many people are standing up for the truth. May their lives be protected. Help us in our endeavors, in our daily lives, and things that we say and do. May it be a reflection of you, through your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name we pray. Amen. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your prayers, your comments, and more. We see them. We hear from you. And we're so thankful for what our Heavenly Father's put together. For now, this is LT Semper Fi, with them we know. Signing out.
I have a child that, because I had a choice, she's in private school. She's thriving. She's thriving.
My story is truly a Joseph story. This president right here, President Donald Trump, brought me from the prison pit to the White House. Only in America.
The thing I like about him, he keeps it real just like Grandma. I appreciate that because I can trust him because he tells exactly how he feels and what he thinks. Thank God for this president. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news, hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be stand up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said it.